Hi there, I am Grace, your Graceful Ager, and this is part 3 of a multi-part series on grief, widowhood, and faith. So I have with me a wonderful friend, not Mitzi, inside joke,
Help me. No.
Lynda Berg, and she is a private detective, but her passion is saving children from being sex trafficked. And I am right along with her because I hate seeing kids and the elderly being violently treated. So I'm along with her on saving kids from being sex trafficked. But she is also no stranger to grief because she has also lost important people in her life, like her mom and her dad. So I'm gonna don't cry, I'm gonna let Lynda introduce herself so you can get to know her and talk about her grief and talk about her passion and her faith. And also, she's also, her cancer came back. So dealing with all that is a grief in itself, but this is a very strong woman. I don't see her in the corner crying about the cancer or anything that she's going through. And I just admire her for it because I know there's a lot of people out there given the C word and they're all freaking out. They think it's the end of the world. But we know that our faith is going to get us through no matter what. So Lynda, tell them about you, tell them about what you do and your passion and all that.
Okay, so obviously I have a lot going on.
Yeah, to say the least.
So we're going to do the grief part first. I have lost both my parents. My mom passed away when I was 35, so it's been a long time. My dad, I always call Daddy. My daddy passed away just a little over 2 years ago. And that's a terrible loss. I have not lost a spouse, so I can't relate to that part. But I always say I don't like being an orphan. I don't recommend it. If you can avoid it, don't do it. Yeah. Not that I had any control over that. But since my dad passed, I purchased his car. And every time I get in that car and I drive it, it's like my daddy's giving me a hug.
Aww.
So I just love that. I am a licensed private investigator. I've been a private investigator for 42 years. I do all kinds of different investigations. My passion, though, lies in protecting children. I worked my very first sex trafficking case 42 years ago, when a lot of people still say it doesnst exist.
And she was 5 years old.
Right, yeah, when I was 5 years old. I was an early bloomer. Are we supposed to have this much fun?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, one of the very first cases I worked on was a little 10-year-old girl who was kidnapped by her uncle, who brutalized her and then sold her to his friends for sex. We found her within a week and a half, but can you imagine how long that week and a half was for that little girl? And they didn't call it trafficking then, but that's exactly what it was. So that kind of started my passion for protecting kids. And I've always done all kinds of work for kids. I do, missing kid cases free of charge, unless it's a habitual runaway. And the same with rescues for trafficked kids. And recently I started going out and speaking, teaching parents and kids how to stay safe from those evil predators that are out there trying to steal your children. It's very, very important. I'm not going to go all statistically here, whatever.
Well, throw a couple of statistics out there, and number one thing that the parents should do or not do.
Yeah, so the average lifespan of a child who is trafficked is 5 to 7 years, and that's whether they are rescued or not.
Wow.
That's terrifying, especially since the average age of a child when they're first trafficked is 11.
Oh my gosh.
So they're still teenagers usually when their life ends. Terrible. Even when they get rescued, they still have to deal with all kinds of things for the rest of their lives. That little girl I talked about, little 10-year-old girl, she and I are still in touch. So I stay in contact with rescue victims as much as I can. She's a wonderful, very successful woman, but that's because she has tons of faith and she worked really, really hard to have a good life. We see a lot of horrible things. That's where my faith comes in handy. I'm really good at kind of separating, compartmentalizing what I'm doing, which is good. Also compartmentalize the cancer fight, which is a whole other thing. But I stay positive even when I'm dealing with this stuff. So probably the top 2 things parents need to know to keep their kids safe. Number 1 is do not give your child a smartphone when they're a little kid. They should not have a smartphone until they're like 14 years old. And it's illegal for them to use most of the apps till that age anyway. There's no need for them to have a smartphone. And the ones that do have smartphones, at any given moment, there are 500,000 predators online waiting to contact your child. That's a lot.
Wow.
If your kids are on TikTok or somewhere like that and they have, 10,000 followers, odds are pretty good a major chunk of those are predators.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's scary.
The internet right now is the white panel van. We talked about that white panel van that's going to kidnap you off the street. These days it's the internet.
Yeah.
That's way more dangerous. Kids don't get grabbed off the street very often. It's almost unheard of.
What to name a couple of apps that you would suggest that they should, if they're of age 14 and up, having a cell phone, which app should a parent look for to keep their kids from having it?
Right now, TikTok is the most popular app among pedophiles and predators. So I don't even go on TikTok except when I'm investigating something. So TikTok's the number 1 to stay away from. And then Snapchat and Instagram a lot of predators contact potential targets or victims on Instagram and they convince them to switch over to Snapchat. So they should kind of stay away from Instagram just because it keeps them away from Snapchat. So, number 3.
Yeah, I think it's important for parents, grandparents, whoever has a kid in their life, to monitor what's on their phone anyway, and be able to control, right?
Yes.
Parental controls should be set.
Yeah, until the child is 18 years old and is able to sign the contract for the phone and is paying for the phone, it belongs to the parent or grandparent, whoever.
Yeah.
So that kid has no right to privacy on their phone. It's not theirs. That's my view on that.
Yeah.
A lot of kids don't agree with me, but that's okay. It's for their safety. It's really, really easy to learn how to look for hidden apps on a phone. You can actually Google it. And there's very basic instructions because kids are brilliant at hiding apps.
Tell us a little bit about the cancer and how that has affected you. I know this. You had it. It went away. You were in remission, and now it's back. How do you feel about it? And how are you getting through the days? What's your attitude towards it?
I am a mind over matter person, big time. So this is not my first cancer adventure, shall we say. I had breast cancer when I was 39 years old. So, and I've had skin cancer. This cancer is colon cancer. It originally was diagnosed just over 7 years ago. And my treatment's all experimental treatment because since I have an immunity issue, I can't do traditional chemotherapy because that would kill me. So I've been doing experimental treatment. It's not that bad. The treatment's not that bad. On kind of a rough day, I sort of feel like I have the flu.
After?
Yeah, so it's not that bad. I've seen so many other people that their symptoms are so much worse. So I have a scan coming up on Friday, and hopefully it'll be good news.
Yeah. Well, I think you're a perfect example of someone who can deal with the being diagnosed with a big C. Everybody, I don't know anyone who would get diagnosed with a big C and not freak out over it because it's always been it's like a death sentence. But I believe in observing you and how you've gone on and how your attitude is and how you deal with things, I believe that that has something to do with how you're surviving.
Oh, absolutely.
And, faith, people that are praying for you. And, it's why I subscribe to a community of, no matter how small, of women who love the Lord and who know that whatever a doctor says, whatever happens around us, our lives are already planned out. And we're going to get the support that we need. We're going to get the provisions that we need. And I just want to share that with you. I wanted to share with you, and I will continue doing that, women in my community who are going through things that and are overcoming. They're victors instead of victims. So Lynda, as a private investigator and in your mission for the kids, how do people get a hold of you? So if they need help, if they need to have a class in their church, how do they get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me via my website, which is ljbinvestigations.com.
ljbinvestigations.com.
Yes, and I am all over social media, like everywhere. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. Facebook, it's LJB Investigations. Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, it's OC Lady PI.
OC Lady PI. Don't go it alone. If you need help, go with Lynda, but definitely go with God. That's all I can tell you. Lynda, it was such a pleasant time that I had with you. I love your mission of saving kids. For people who have little kids in their lives, watch out. There are predators everywhere. Don't trust anyone. And I mean anyone. I don't care who it is, the uncle, the brother. Don't trust anyone until you know.